I suppose I knew it had ended. I know when things have ended because I feel I've said enough. And that's a very difficult thing to explain. But I've never really felt that I understood any text until I had read it a second time. And I felt there was enough in what I had written so that a reader could imagine what would happen after the book ended. And so that's how I felt it. I knew it had ended. I'm not sure that I make a decision about ending a book. I'm not sure about that. I just feel that I'm in the service of whoever I'm writing about and trying to follow what it is that they need to do and see. And so I'm not sure that the decision was mine. It just felt that that's where he needed to end, and he ended outside of his own doorstep. And he's a man who goes to a lot of doorways and is left on the step. So it felt right without being clever. I don't think I've ever given a story or a book a title before it's finished. And then I'm always just hunting for one. I don't have a great talent for writing at all. I think that's actually a separate talent. I've been teaching creative writing for 25 years. And every now and then, there's somebody in the group who has this wonderful talent for being able to come up with a title. And every now and then, maybe just 2 or 3 times, I've come up with this wonderful title for somebody else's work. And I wish I could do it for myself, but I didn't have a title before I began, and then struggled to find one after I had finished. I think they just come from the place and seem to belong there, and maybe they somehow appeal to me aesthetically. There's not a lot of light. I mean, physical light in the book. I think there's a lot of light otherwise, but there's not a lot of physical light in the book, and it's a dark, cold, wet winter, and the crows seem to belong there. But I also love crows, and I've read Ted Hughes and his crows, and they're wonderful, and they're so playful and intelligent and watchful and listening, and it felt like that married up aesthetically with the feeling of the place. No, I invented him entirely, and no, there are no others. I usually rely on a place I've been to, somewhere I know, in order to set my story, somewhere to set my story. And then I decide on a time. But I love to invent everybody on those pages. So no. But he exists for me now. I mean, I feel I know him now, and he's somebody I live with, but no, he's not based on anybody I've ever met or heard about. Without doubt, it's when you're struggling to discover or find what it is you're writing about, and then something works on a level of suggestion which you may not have expected. And what you were struggling with becomes real work, and you've got a decent paragraph, and then you find another decent paragraph to compose another decent paragraph to go alongside of that, and they start talking back to each other. And then you try and write another one. And then you wake up the next day knowing that you have a decent page or something that could be a decent page, and the text becomes promising, and then you're in, and you keep on working. And without doubt, that's the loveliest part of work. I also enjoy proofreading. I love when it's all over, and you feel you've done the best you can. And then you go off and work with a proofreader and somebody who hopefully is really particular. And you can kind of put a polish on it and feel that your work is done. That's also really enjoyable. I worked with Ian Critchley for this with Faber, and that was very pleasurable indeed. These are lovely questions. I did. I interviewed one lady whose story has nothing to do with what is in Small Things Like These, but she had been placed in the Magdalene Laundry in New Ross when she was a very small child. I think she was 3, along with her sister who was slightly older, after their mother died, and their father simply couldn't manage and wasn't able to take care of them or feed them. So they were placed in the Magdalene Laundry in New Ross. In October there were yellow trees. Then the clocks went back the hour, and the long November winds came in and blew and stripped the trees bare. In the town of New Ross, chimneys threw out smoke, which fell away and drifted off in hairy, drawn-out strings before dispersing along the quays. And soon the river Barrow, dark as stout, swelled up with rain. The people, for the most part, unhappily endured the weather. Shopkeepers and tradesmen, men and women in the post office and the dole queue, the mart, the coffee shop and supermarket, the bingo hall, the pubs and the chipper all commented in their own ways on the cold and what rain had fallen, asking what was in it, and could there be something in it? For who could believe that there again was another raw cold day? Children pulled their hoods up before facing out to school, while their mothers, so used now to ducking their heads and running to the clothesline, or hardly daring to hang anything out at all, had little faith in getting so much as a shirt dry before evening. And then the nights came on, and the frost took hold again, and blades of cold slid under doors and cut the knees off those who still knelt to say the rosary. Down in the yard, Bill Furlong, the coal and timber merchant, rubbed his hands, saying if things carried on as they were, they would soon need a new set of tyres for the lorry. She's on the road every hour of the day, he told his men. We could soon be on the rims.